So we're getting closer and closer to that Microsoft Activision deal eventually going through for roughly $70 billion. The expectation is for it to be completed by like midway through 2023, just based on their fiscal year and how it all lines up for Microsoft. But there's also speculation out there this deal could be getting done possibly before the end of this year. Although when you work into like the holiday season, if you get beyond like September or October, usually you just say, okay, next year it'll most likely get done when business more or less resumes fully for a lot of these companies. But in the entire process, as we are leading up to the conclusion of this deal, there are a lot of questions that are being asked of different companies, and we're also getting some official statements that are being put out there online through like public disclosure and stuff. And there have been some interesting comments from both Sony and Microsoft, as one side is trying to play up this deal as basically the end of the world, and the other one trying to downplay it completely. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawn Wave Plus channel, make sure you subscribe down below. I've already talked about Sony. That was in Newswave, where we went over some of their comments, and they essentially said, hey, there's nothing we can do to rival Call of Duty. It's too entrenched into just like the gaming community, the gaming space, right? And they're kind of right about that, because every year Call of Duty comes out, every year it immediately becomes the best-selling game of that year, right? Like, and it does it in a month or something. It's pretty wild how much money Call of Duty generates. And now we have Warzone, which is like their ongoing live service. They also have Call of Duty Mobile, which has over 100 million downloads on phones. So yes, Call of Duty just rolls along every single year. And Sony basically said, we can't do much to rival it. If this deal goes through, they didn't say they're in trouble, but like it's going to be a significant chunk of their revenue that is essentially controlled then by Microsoft, right? Well, Microsoft had a different viewpoint on this one. We can see this over on Rock, Paper, Shotgun. And essentially, as different regulatory bodies are reviewing this, they are asking questions from different companies. We talked about how with the questionnaires that went out from Brazil, that Sony was the only company that seemed to oppose this deal. No one else really cared, and apparently some large companies like Apple barely filled the thing out because they don't care. But Sony does. So Microsoft having to play the opposite end of the extreme with this, which they want this to go through. So in their mind, they have to pretend like it's not necessarily a big deal with what Call of Duty is able to do year in, year out. They say, specifically with respect to Activision Blizzard, that's how you know they're about to say something mean or bad. They say in video games, there is nothing unique about the video games developed and published by Activision Blizzard that is a must-have for rival PC and console video game distributors that could give rise to a foreclosure concern, which I think that part of the statement is the most important. Essentially, this is, by the way, a response to New Zealand Commerce Commission. So they were asked about this, and obviously they're going to be like, that's not a big deal. It's just Call of Duty. Like, don't worry about it, right? But they say specifically a foreclosure concern, as in, if Call of Duty went away tomorrow, do you think that any company would necessarily fold and just go out of business outright? I guess you could make the case for Activision Blizzard, but like they'd be able to go on and make other games. I think they would still exist. They existed before Call of Duty was around. Maybe not at the capacity they do now and the amount of revenue they generate, but surely the PlayStation, the Xbox, obviously the Switch, it would go on, right? Like you just move along. All right, we don't have this cash cow necessarily, but there are a lot of other games that come out, and this isn't going to send us into, as they say, a foreclosure concern, which is really the most important part here, because that is what any of these regulatory bodies would be concerned about. Would this affect the market in a negative way that would then affect consumers in a negative way? And Microsoft's basically like, no. So, and Microsoft has said they're going to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Listen, we're going to find out what Microsoft really thinks after this deal goes through. They were very cagey with their responses around what was going to happen after the Bethesda ZeniMax deal went through with Starfield, and oh, look at that, Starfield's not on PlayStation. So it's, again, there is a marketing deal that is in place with Sony for the next couple of years, but when that's up and everyone basically has just accepted that Call of Duty is part of Microsoft's staple of franchises, we'll see what they really think then. But Microsoft did respond specifically for the must-have quotation that they sent out. This was rock, paper, shotgun. They say, must-have is a legal term of art and not a statement about the value we place on Activision Blizzard's gaming portfolio. We love every one of their games and have enormous admiration and respect for the creative talent behind them. It's all the game. It's the legalese back and forth, right? Trust me, when this deal goes through and it's then Microsoft's job to market Call of Duty, they will use the term must-have. They will say, oh, it's a must-have game, must-have franchise or whatever, like they're going to put that all over the place. So this is just a way for them to try to emphasize that it's not necessary for Call of Duty, I don't know, to be on PlayStation. Like if it wasn't there, they would move along and things would continue. Sure, it would hurt PlayStation's bottom line pretty drastically. Like it wouldn't hurt, it wouldn't help it. So that's basically it. It's just really funny to see Sony coming from one side of the extreme and then Microsoft from the other side in order to try to sway these different regulatory bodies as to what should happen. I think most of them are going to fall on the side of this deal going through, mostly because it's just one company, Sony, who seems to be opposed to it, and then you technically have like the majority saying, it's fine, it's not really going to affect the market any. But let me know what you guys think about this, specifically with comments from Microsoft and even from Sony, who seems pretty concerned about all of this happening. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.